The inspector only asked me one question, and I knew I was in trouble before I answered. When was your last paint booth fire suppression inspections? I manage a collision repair shop in Miami, and I honestly couldn't remember. We had been so busy keeping up with insurance work and customer deadlines that the paint booth fire suppression system slipped off my radar. That's when I called Florida Fire Solutions. If you operate an automotive body shop in Miami, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, or anywhere in South Florida, don't make the same mistake I did. Your paint booth fire suppression system, fire extinguishers, inspection reports, and preventive maintenance are just as important as the equipment you use every day. I've been in the collision repair business for almost 15 years. We repair everything from small fender benders to complete restorations. Our paint booth is the heart of the operation. If it's down, the entire shop slows down. Cars pile up, customers get frustrated, and insurance companies start asking questions. We spend thousands of dollars maintaining spray guns, air compressors, and ventilation systems. But I'll admit, I didn't give much thought to the fire suppression system sitting quietly above the booth. That changed after a routine inspection. The inspector noticed the service tag and immediately asked for the inspection records. I dug through a filing cabinet, hoping I had overlooked something, but the documentation wasn't current. Nothing had malfunctioned. And thankfully, there had never been a fire. But that didn't matter. The suppression system needed its required inspection, and I needed it completed before the issue became a much bigger problem. I started making phone calls that afternoon. Some companies couldn't come out for over a week, and others seemed unfamiliar with paint booth systems. Florida Fire Solutions asked several questions that immediately gave me confidence. They wanted to know the type of booth, whether it was a wet or dry filter system, what type of suppression system was installed, and when the last inspection had been performed. It sounded like they understood exactly what they were walking into. When the technician arrived, he spent more time inspecting the system than I expected. At first, I wondered why it was taking so long, but then he explained everything as he worked. He checked the suppression cylinders, detection line, manual pull station, nozzles, control components, warning labels, and overall condition of the system. He also inspected the portable fire extinguishers located near the booth and reviewed previous service records to make sure nothing had been missed. One thing that impressed me was that nobody tried to create problems that didn't exist. They found a few deficiencies, explained each one, and separated items that required immediate correction from recommendations for future maintenance. There wasn't any pressure or scare tactics, just straightforward explanations backed by experience. During the inspection, I learned something that should have been obvious. A paint booth is one of the highest fire risk areas in an automotive repair shop. Between paint products, solvents, overspray, and ventilation equipment, the potential for a fire is very different than in a normal office or warehouse. That's why these suppression systems require regular inspections and why documentation matters so much. The technician explained that paint booth fire suppression systems are typically inspected in accordance with the manufacturer's requirements, as well as applicable NFPA standards, including NFPA 33 for spray application using flammable or combustible materials. Hearing that helped me understand why inspectors pay such close attention to these systems. They're protecting employees, expensive equipment, and often an entire building. I also realized how many business owners misunderstand inspections. Before this experience, I thought if the suppression system had never discharged, it probably didn't need much attention. Florida Fire Solutions explained that these systems contain mechanical and detection components that should be inspected on a regular schedule. Waiting until something activates isn't a maintenance plan. Preventive maintenance is what helps ensure the system works if it ever has to respond during an actual emergency. Another lesson involved paperwork. We had completed repairs and maintenance on different parts of the building over the years, but the documentation wasn't organized. Once Florida Fire Solutions completed the inspection, they provided a detailed inspection report showing what had been inspected, what deficiencies were corrected, and what future service dates needed to be tracked. Everything was easy to understand, which made my next inspection much less stressful. Since then, I've changed how we manage our maintenance schedule. Instead of waiting for inspection notices, we schedule our paint booth fire suppression inspections ahead of time. We also keep digital copies of every report, so anyone in the office can find them immediately if an insurance representative, fire marshal, or safety inspector asks for documentation. One unexpected benefit has been the confidence it gives our employees. Our painters spend hours inside or around that booth every day. Knowing the suppression system has been professionally inspected gives everyone peace of mind. It also sends the message that safety isn't something we only think about after an accident. Looking back, forgetting about that inspection could have easily turned into a much bigger issue. We might have faced delays, compliance problems, or downtime during one of our busiest months. Instead, Florida Fire Solutions helped us identify the deficiencies early, complete the necessary corrections, organize our documentation, and get everything back on track without disrupting our business. Now, whenever another shop owner asks who handles our fire protection inspections, I tell them about that experience. Florida Fire Solutions didn't just complete a paint booth fire suppression inspection and leave. They explained the process, answered every question, documented everything clearly, and made sure we understood why each part of the inspection mattered. That's the kind of service that earns trust over time. If you operate a body shop, manufacturing facility, or any business with a paint booth in Miami, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, or anywhere in South Florida, I'd confidently recommend Florida Fire Solutions based on what they did for us. Their professionalism, communication, and attention to detail made a stressful situation much easier, and that's exactly what you want from a fire protection company.